I see patients with
Mm.
cognitive impairment, clearing up their minds. I see patients with what people think of as real diseases like Crohn's disease being cured by getting their own stem cells. I've seen, obviously the simple low hanging fruit is sticking stem cells in a joint, making your knee better, your shoulder better, your back better, things like that. But one of the things that people don't realize is that these cells within their body have the capacity to help promote youth. We have each of our cells a set of genetic instructions called telomeres at the end of our DNA, and that's what instructs the cells to divide. And every time we divide as a cell, we lose one of these sets of instructions. We lose some telomeres, and when you run out of telomeres, the cells can't divide, so the organism dies. So one of the things that we've learned is that the stem cells we're using today actually lengthen the telomeres and promote longevity.
Peace and riches blessings. I am Michael B. Beckwith, the host of Take Back Your Mind. Peace and blessings, everyone, and welcome to Take Back Your Mind, the podcast. I am Michael B. Beckwith, founder of the Agape International Spiritual Center, and your host on Take Back Your Mind. As you know, for those of you who've been tuning in for some time, every week I have the opportunity to have a great conversation with individuals that are making a difference on this planet, individuals that have opened up their own heart, took back their mind, and have found a way to make a contribution to this planet for the evolution and unfoldment of humanity in terms of health, inspiration, spirituality, and all of the magnificent ways that we get to walk on this planet. And today I have with me Dr. Thomas Lobe. Dr. Tom, how you doing, man?
I'm wonderful. It's good to be with you today.
It's- I'm so glad that you're with me. I'm going to let people know who you are. Thomas Lobe, Thom Lobe.
Stop. Thank you.
He is the founder of the Regenevéda clinics in Chicago and Los Angeles, which focused on advanced hormone therapy, anti-aging medicine, and regenerative medicine. It was during his early childhood that Tom developed his lifelong interest, and he'll break that down for us as well, in learning about the complexities of medicine and its ability to transform lives. He credits this to his battle with Legg-Calve-Perthes, a disease of the hip, which is still poorly understood today. This disease exposed him to a diverse range of doctors and hospitals, igniting the passion for the sciences, giving him the patience and persistence to learn how to walk again at the age of 5. He graduated cum laude from University of Maryland School of Medicine. For side point, I was born in Bethesda, Maryland, the Naval Hospital there. He received many additional honors for his distinguished studies. It was his work as an attending surgeon at Shriners Burns Hospital that gave him a great understanding of advanced nutrition, metabolism, hormone therapy, skincare, and regenerative wound healing. In 2008, he opened Regenevéda, utilizing functional medicine and integrative practices that emphasize the relationship between doctor and patient, the innate healing ability of the body, and the importance of addressing all aspects of an individual's life to obtain optimal health and healing. I remember when you had your clinic here in Los Angeles because I attended there and met you there. I don't remember who brought us together, but it was a very wonderful meeting. And you had the scalar waves there. You had all manner of advanced, energetic ways of healing the body temple that was way off the beaten path, of which now some of that is breaking into common day usage. Now, you specialize in regenerative anti-aging medicine. I wanted to ask you, you know, how does this approach differ from conventional medicine?
It's a component of conventional medicine, but it's a component that uh, only a few people understand really well. I like to think that I'm one of them, and we've really come a long way. You know, when I started my clinic in Beverly Hills that you attended, you used to call me the energy doctor.
Right.
And we focused on energy medicine, and one of the wonderful things that we've learned over the years is that the body has a tremendous ability to heal itself when we tap into it properly. And so that's what we're doing these days is tapping into people's own energy and spirit and helping them heal themselves.
Right. You combine, I'm looking at something I wanted to ask you, the cutting edge science with holistic care. And tell us your feeling about the role of mindset and emotional healing. How does that play in physical regeneration as well?
I think it's critical. You know, we understand even with I'm a surgeon by training, and I still practice, and it's very important to uh, have a positive mindset and believe that you are going to do well with a procedure. I have a wonderful story. I may have shared it with you, but I was operating on a critically ill newborn baby, and I went to the intensive care unit, and I was going to tell the parents that this baby might not survive the surgery.
Mm.
And my rabbi was standing there,
Mhm.
and he said, "Let's pray." So we prayed with the family. I took that baby to surgery, and you might have thought I clipped his toenails. He did so well; he went home the next day.
Mm.
And there's no question in my mind it was because of the parents' belief in the prayer that we did over that child that this baby did so well. So having the mindset, having the right spirit, having the belief is critical to healing. And I've seen some pretty phenomenal results when people believe.
Right. So you're talking about the mindset of the doctor as well as the mindset of the patient because you believe in prayer and connection to the higher source. So obviously you were carrying that along with your rabbi and then the patient and the parents of the patient, they were invited to be in that mindset, I imagine.
Funny thing was when I saw the family after surgery post-operatively, you know, I told them I said I didn't know you guys were Jewish, and they said, "Oh, we're not Jewish." Yeah. She's so what was my rabbi doing there? You know, he used to be our next door neighbor. He heard the baby was having surgery, so he just came to pray with us.
Prayer is prayer.
Sorry.
Doesn't matter how you identify in terms of your religious persuasion, but prayer is
100%.
still prayer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, whether you're a Christian, Buddhist, you practice Islam, whatever, doesn't matter. You're still seeking to connect to the higher source. And
There have been studies showing that if you pray and believe after or with cardiac surgery, the mortality is better.
right,
The better survival with prayer.
right, right. Yeah, I think there's been a lot of tests over the years that now we're living in a time in which science is actually catching up with a lot of the spirituality that's been taught over the years. You're an example of that. I mean, we have epigenetics, have evolutionary biology, quantum physics. I mean, all of these sciences are now corroborating the truth that we're living in a field of intelligence and beauty, and that as we consciously connect with it, it makes a mighty difference in our life, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And so I used to call you the energy doctor because you were always on the cutting edge of a lot of these modalities before they were popular. And now you have a place you work with here in Los Angeles and in Chicago. And I've seen you in both places.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm in Chicago, I drop in just to see what's new and that type of thing. And so now, what would you say is the leading edge of healing modality today?
Sure. The thing that I find most interesting and have the best results with today are stem cells, and the listeners may have heard something about stem cells. They may not know much about them. I'm happy to explain them, but these are cells within the body. Uh,
Right.
actually promote healing. And then so this is what I was alluding to earlier when I say we have the capacity within ourselves to heal. And then so we can take an individual's own stem cells and expand them so they have an unlimited lifetime source of their own cells, their own medicine, if you will. And we're seeing some absolutely incredible, hard to believe results across all spectrums of disorders. We see patients, I see children with autism being cured. I see patients with
Mm.
cognitive impairment clearing up their minds. I see patients with what people think of as real diseases like Crohn's disease being cured by getting their own stem cells. I've seen, obviously the simple low hanging fruit is sticking stem cells in a joint, making your knee better, your shoulder better, your back better, things like that. But one of the things that people don't realize is that these cells within their body have the capacity to help promote youth. We have each of our cells a set of genetic instructions called telomeres at the end of our DNA, and that's what instructs the cells to divide. And every time we divide as a cell, we lose one of these sets of instructions. We lose some telomeres, and when you run out of telomeres, the cells can't divide, so the organism dies. So one of the things that we've learned is that the stem cells we're using today actually lengthen the telomeres and promote longevity.
Mhm. And you're saying that, the technology you're talking about are individuals using their own stem cells, because oftentimes people are using embryonic stem cells and things of that particular nature, but you're saying you're harvesting people's own stem cells.
Right. We take a little sample of fat. The biggest complaint I have with that procedure, by the way, is could you take more? Because we only need a cup of tea.
People wanna remove the fat.
Exactly, and so we take a couple teaspoons of their fat under a little, maybe 20-minute procedure under local in the office, and we send that to the lab, and then the lab grows those cells. It takes the stem cells out of the fat and grows them in the lab, and then when the patients need them for some disorder or some problem that they have with their health, or they just want to stay young and stay active and be strong, we take those cells that we've grown and we send them to the patient's doctor, and then the doctor administers those cells. We're just seeing some amazing results. So we're talking about the patient's own cells, which is something the FDA actually allows us to do.
Mm.
Uh, and they don't have any issues with it. Some of the other cells, when you take embryonic cells, placental cells, something like that, those aren't really approved. But they don't have any issue with the types of procedures we're doing because we're taking our own tissue and giving it back to us.
Mhm. So that's legal and everything. Yeah, because a lot of times people will go out of the country to get other kinds of cells, but if you're taking your own cells, then you're just putting your own cells, your own blood back in your own body. So it's
No different than you donating blood, getting it back as a transfusion. It's your own tissue, so the FDA has no issue with that. And remarkably, when we take these cells out of you at any age, the cells renew themselves. They're like baby cells, so they're like brand new, rejuvenated cells that actually uh, get into the body or into the space that we place them, and begin to do their regeneration and repair.
mhm. So it doesn't matter how old a person is. A person can be 50 years old or 30 or 20, but the cell itself will still be youthful and young?
Exactly. So they think of them as when they're in the fat, they're trapped in a little time capsule, if you will,
Mhm.
biological time capsule. And so when we release them and grow them, they're like baby cells again. And so I'd one patient who was 95 and used his cells to help him after a stroke. And Interesting comment. His heart doctor says, "I don't know what you did to him, but his heart's better." And
Mm.
this is, somebody who's 95 years old using their own cells, so
So the heart regenerated or the
well,
stem cells assisted the heart to become stronger?
the cells assisted the heart to become stronger, and the stem cells are pretty remarkable because they help with any inflammation anywhere in the body. They modulate the immune system, which means a lot of people who have immune types of disorders like rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, Crohn's disease, things like that. These are all immune functions of the body at their core, and the stem cells help with those. They help make new blood vessels. So that, for example, if we give them intravenously, they help restore the blood flow to the edges of the brain that as we get older start to lose some of that blood flow, so that helps the mind. They make new tissue, so if we stick them into a joint, for example, it'll help the joint regenerate. As a matter of fact, my wife, ex-wife actually, had a bad knee, and she was supposed to have surgery. So let me put some stem cells in there. So I took her stem cells and put them in the knee, and she complained for about 6 weeks, and then said they haven't done anything yet. All of a sudden, the seventh week, she woke up and said, "Oh my God, my pain's gone." It takes time to regenerate tissue, as you know, but so we can regenerate tissue in spaces where the cells are deficient, and where there's inflammation that needs repair. So they're pretty amazing, and they come in us.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of talk about stem cells a lot these days, so just for people who haven't heard about this, what is a stem cell? How do you
Sure.
define that? Yeah.
A stem cell is a rather primitive cell. There are different types of stem cells. We start with a stem cell basically when the egg and sperm meet. They make a new structure that's basically the ultimate stem cell because it forms every tissue in the body as it grows into an embryo. And so that's one level of stem cells are called pluripotent stem cells. They make everything.
Hmm.
Uh, and the stem cells we're talking about are a slightly lower class of stem cells. They don't make every structure. They don't make a new brain. They're not going to make a new heart, but they make new muscles, tendons, structural things, blood vessels, bones, cartilage, the supporting structure of the nervous system. They can help with diabetes. They help make new islet cells in the pancreas. So there are a lot of things that they do, but they have limitations. Like I'm not going to make a whole new person. I'm not going to make a whole new
You're not gonna clone a person.
in the cloning business. But they have some very specific characteristics. So they can regenerate themselves. They can divide and make new stem cells. So that's one of their functions. Uh, they can then be transformed into other tissue. So if I take a stem cell from your fat and I stick it in the knee, well, it's not going to make fat in the knee, but it's going to look around and say, okay, this structure that I've just in this new home it needs some new cartilage. So let me just lay down some new cartilage. And so, or if I stick it into an inflamed tendon, it's going to say this tendon needs repair. So let me help repair that tendon, and make a new tendon if I have to. So they can do regeneration. They can turn into other tissues. They can heal by getting rid of inflammation, and they can make new blood vessels. And they clean up cellular debris, which makes them helpful in an acute injury like a knee or shoulder or a hand or elbow or something like that. But they also can help clean up the brain with the tall body deposits from like in Alzheimer's and things like that. So they're pretty amazing entities. And again, I like to think that if the person is healthy and eats healthy and thinks healthy and has a good spirit, their stem cells are going to work better. It's all about intention.
So if a person had dementia or let's say Alzheimer's and they received their own stem cells for a period of time, you're saying that this could actually mitigate or even bring back a person's memory? Is that possible?
Yeah, again, it depends on the stage we're talking about. If
Yeah.
it's a stage, which is sometimes, we get patients at advanced stage. It's a little bit like being in the middle of the ocean with a hole in the bottom of your boat trying to bail it out with a Dixie cup. And, the disease is going to progress so rapidly that you can't make a difference. But when we get it early, when we see patients at the beginning of their disease with Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, early cognitive impairment, and things that
MS? MS too?
MS, yeah, MS is an immune function, so so
Mhm.
so it is part autoimmune, so we help with that. And again, we get late onset disease or late recognized disease, and it's a little bit hard. A lot of patients have tried everything. I even use it to support patients with cancer because it helps boost the immune system. So in contrary to people thinking, oh, I shouldn't give stem cells because it's going to spread the cancer or make it worse, it actually helps the body boost the immune system to fight the cancer. So in my advanced cancer patients, I actually give stem cells to help with that.
Mhm. So this proverbial fountain of youth that people are looking for, I guess there's a new program on television called The Fountain of Youth. I mean, it's always people talking about this Ponce de Leon fountain of youth. So it appears as though stem cells may be that description because it's keeping people youthful, it's mitigating disease, and bringing people back to a sense of coherence around wellness and well-being. So, do you see this then as that proverbial fountain of youth, perhaps?
If you have the right cells
Mhm.
and use them in the correct way, I think absolutely. I mean, I do stem cells intravenously every month.
You do stem cells yourself once a month.
Yes, and so I do them mostly for their anti-aging uh, properties. I'll be 77. I think I'm doing okay for 77. Maybe Zoom makes me look younger or better, but
Well, I saw you at the wedding for Bill Quaitman's daughter, India, and your body just seemed so fit and strong. So I said, "What are you doing, man?"
some people can do 1 vial a month, some people can do more than that. Any is helpful, and so, and I've seen some pretty remarkable changes in people. You mentioned our friend Bill.
Mhm.
I think he to me, he looks younger,
Yeah.
because of the stem cells he's doing. He at that wedding you just commented on, he looked about as good as I've seen him in the last decade. He
Yeah, I remember he had a back injury a few months ago, and he was, uh,
About a year ago, and
yeah,
he was having trouble recovering from that, and so we started the stem cells, and that's made all the difference in the world, I think.
beautiful. So you said that you do them intravenously. Does that mean the cells are going throughout your entire body and basically congregating around where it's needed most? Is that
Sure.
accurate?
So I like to tell my patients, that, the cell is like a little ambulance. So if I release it in the body, it's gonna run around, until it finds a place that needs help. And so maybe it's a bad joint. It's an inflamed elbow. So it's going to park at that elbow and start doing repair, or it's going to go to the brain because the brain is inflamed and it needs some help, or it's going to go to the pancreas and help that patient with their diabetes, or go to the heart and help with some inflammation of the heart. So they're smart. So they're going to run around the body and figure out, where do I need to focus, and then once I get there, what exactly is it that I need to do? And so now I make it sound simple, but the body releases signals. So when there's inflammation or when there's a problem, the body's sending chemical signals to let other parts of the body know that I'm in pain, I'm in trouble, I'm inflamed, yeah, I need some help. And when we send those stem cells intravenously, they just go right to where the problem is.
Mhm. So what is the best way for people to access their own stem cells at this point?
Sure. So there is a laboratory, and it's called L2 Bio, and they can look it up online, www.l2bio, all is one word, .com. And there are harvest centers all over the country and some around the world where they can go and say, "Hey, doc, I want to get my stem cells and start using them myself or my family." One of the things that's nice is the FDA actually allows us to use cells on first and second degree relatives.
Mm,
If, for example, if we harvest your cells, you can use them on your children, you can use them on your parents.
or
Uh,
vice versa.
Exactly. It's an investment in family health,
Mhm.
and so we actually once you contact one of the harvest centers, the doctor can do the harvest. Once it takes about 8 weeks to grow the cells and have them ready, the FDA makes us culture them for 2 weeks to make sure that they're sterile. So it's a sterile product. They come frozen in little vials, and we send them whenever you need them. You order them from the lab, and the lab sends them to the doctor, and the doctor gives them whether it's an injection into a joint or an intravenous injection, or sometimes we actually stick them in the spinal fluid for some of the neurological conditions to help. I had one patient who was partially paralyzed. Actually, he was paralyzed from the neck down. And my trainer said, "Hey, Tom, can you help him?" And so I said, "Well, we can, we'll give him some stem cells, see what happens." And I gave him some stem cells. Actually, my trainer gave him his stem cells.
Hmm. And they weren't related.
They weren't related, we check patients to make sure that they're genetically compatible.
I see.
Um, and all of a sudden, his muscles started triggering, started kicking in when they weren't doing anything before. So it's pretty amazing that we get a response even in somebody who's severely damaged.
Mhm. Wow, this is interesting. Say that name of that company again.
So it's the letter L, the number 2. So L2 Bio, B-I-O. So L2bio dot com, and you can go look that up and you get some information. There's some papers on there and then some patient vignettes and things like that, just to let you know. The company itself is just a company that does harvesting and banking of the cells, similar to what people did when they were saving the umbilical cord of their children after their children are born to use those stem cells. Those stem cells can only be used for a limited number of problems that most people aren't ever going to get: leukemia, some genetic disorders, and things like that. So they aren't very usable in their form. But it's a similar kind of company. So we take you the fat and bank the cells from the fat and hold on to that until you need it.
Mhm. It's powerful, powerful. So, you we you're oftentimes called the anti-aging doctor. So when you combine everything that you do, what would you say are the best practices for people to actually stay healthy and activate longevity? What are the best practices? I know you're talking about stem cells, mindset. Is there anything else that one should be conscious of for
Uh,
longevity?
there's some basic things that aren't very expensive,
Yeah.
uh, like getting enough sleep. Uh, and having good sleep habits, that's really important. The body needs to, repair itself. So when it sleeps, it kind of clears the brain, it gets rid of the toxins, it kind of helps the body rejuvenate, and so sleep's critically important. Eating healthy, eating properly. So, as a culture, Western society, America in particular, we don't eat properly. We eat too much sugar. We eat too many fried foods. We don't have enough fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, grains, nuts. So I think eating properly is critically important. Physical fitness is important. Like you commented on how Alexa good I work out purposefully about 4 times a week doing strength training, and then 7 days a week doing some cardio. As we get older, we tend to lose. Our muscle mass and lose, and because of that lose balance. So as an older individual, I think it's very important that you maintain your physical condition, even walking.
Mhm.
Yeah, and just anything that you can do, movement is good for you. So those are just some really inexpensive things that you can do to kind of promote longevity. We then want to make sure that people have a good balance of their uh, hormones, and so we oftentimes for our patients will check and make sure that they have proper hormonal balance through all systems. Talking about your sex hormones, talking about your pancreas working properly with the glucose metabolism, talking about everything, your thyroid, talking about your adrenal glands. So those things have to be kind of working properly, and you may need a doctor's help with diagnosing if there's some deficiency or not. A lot of there are lab tests we can do to check on that. We begin to get into peptides. Peptides are pretty
Mm.
magical, and most people don't think about it this way, but everybody's heard of Ozempic, and
It's big these days.
well, that's just a peptide. Okay, so peptides are molecules in the body, strings of amino acids that are put together that actually act as triggers or switches that turn functions on, turn functions off. So peptides are pretty important today, and the Ozempic type of peptide is probably today's miracle drug. It's what aspirin was years ago, or what penicillin was, back in the 1940s and 50s, because there's so many things that we found that those type of drugs help everything from you're preventing dementia, from helping your kidneys maintain themselves if you have kidney impairment, from helping your heart, helping obviously helping you lose weight, keeping your sugar balance, helping to get rid of inflammation. So every day I open the paper, I see another benefit of that class of drugs. So and the prices will come down. Yeah, they're already a little bit cheaper than they were a year or so ago, and more readily available. So I think that's some of the components that I focus on when I deal with somebody with anti-aging. But everybody's different. Everybody's an individual.
Right,
It,
right,
you just can't say, well, this is good for everybody. You have to understand what an individual needs, what their lifestyle is, what they're willing to do. I mean, I can tell a patient to lose weight, but if they're not inclined to lose weight, and then they'll be weighing the same next time I see them in the office. So people have to understand, and doctors have to understand that when you talk to patients, you have to meet them where they are, and you have to kind of help them achieve small goals. Do baby steps, and if you add up a bunch of small goals along the way, you'll ultimately get to the big goal. So
outstanding. Right, yeah, so everything you're saying is fundamental and basic, from sleep to proper nutrition, exercise, and even though they're fundamental and basic, a lot of people just don't move in that direction. We're a fast food nation, we're a sugar nation, we're a fried food nation, as you indicated, and it appears as though that 1 or 2 out of 3 people in the United States have some kind of chronic issue by which they're taking medicine for. So, as you were saying, particularly in America, there seems to be like a contagion of disease, and a lot of that is, I guess, goes right back to our lifestyle. So based on what you were saying, the fundamentals, cut the sugar out of your body as much as you can, add real food, not just fast food, not just fried foods, have some level of exercising the body temple on a regular basis. And even though you're saying that, it seems so simple. A lot of people just won't move in that direction, and they'll eat fast foods every single day, or they'll put some kind of sugar in their body every single day. And from what I understand, even though we're a developed nation, we're so underdeveloped in terms of the health of our nation. There's so many people sick, even though we're called a developed nation. It's probably the root is right back to what you're saying. Food, lack of nutrition, sugar, lack of exercise, and as a doctor, do you feel like you're pushing a boulder upstream, or you maintain a certain optimism about who you get to see?
I'm always optimistic. I think eventually people get it if you explain it to them. But by the way, I'm going to interject with the other thing I forgot to mention is fiber. People don't get enough fiber. Fiber is very important for your health. And again, the things that are important are cheap. Eating the fiber and then your fruits and vegetables, getting the sleep, cutting out sugar, cutting out the fried foods. These aren't very expensive, but the cost of not doing it is horribly expensive because it's a burden on the patient, it's a burden on the doctors, it's a burden on American healthcare, and we've become a nation where the pharmaceutical companies do such good advertising. Well, you can take a pill and fix anything, and
Right.
and our whole concept of what we try and focus on is catch people when they're young enough to help them prevent problems, so they don't have them in the first place.
Right, absolutely. So I know you were talking about the stem cells. Is there anything else that excites you about functional medicine? Anything rising that you feel good about?
I think we understand more about uh, proper nutrition. We understand more about how the peptides can benefit us. I really think the Ozempic type drugs are kind of a miracle drug of our age, and then, where that's going to level out uh, is difficult to say, but I just read a statistic the other day where the the comment was at least one-third of Americans should be on one of the Ozempic class of drugs for their general health and well-being and
Really?
longevity. And then so, and it's not just about the weight loss. It's not focused on that. It's just all the other benefits that it has. So I think peptides are uh,
So Ozempic is a peptide, is what you say. It's not just chemical drugs. It's actually a peptide. Is that what you're saying?
right. It's a peptide. So, peptide is a string of amino acids put together. It's a short string. It isn't too short to be a protein, but it acts as a signal. Now, steaks also a bunch of amino acids put together. So, so it's just they're just different forms. So it's not that a peptide's food, but we've identified some peptides that are signaling. Insulin's a peptide, growth hormone's a peptide, Ozempic's a peptide. So it's a very important class of drugs that we're just beginning to understand better. Understand how to use them. We have peptides that can help us sleep. We have peptides that can uh, help help us fight infection. We have different peptides that stimulate different systems in our body. So I think that the peptides are going to become an important part of our functional medicine bag of tricks that we offer to patients. There's some really interesting new drugs coming out. I'm not totally saying that pharmaceuticals are bad, but they have a bad rap. But because of the bad rap, I think we're going to see some good come out of it. There's a new pain medicine, by the way, that's not addicting. That's as powerful as the opiate type pain medicines, and it hits a different pathway. It actually prevents the pain signal from getting to the brain. So this has just been released. So it's a new pain medicine. So I think we're going to see the elimination of opiates, and because we don't want to
So
do
it's not addictive, you're saying. It's not,
not addictive at all.
but we don't know at this point, we don't know the side effects of it.
Well, then they've just released it. So far, they don't have their side effects. So there's some new drugs that are coming out for sleep that
Mhm.
actually uh, stimulate wakefulness as opposed to or impede wakefulness. So as opposed to drugs that make you drowsy or the antidepressants or things, anxiolytics that we've done in the past. There's some new drugs that are actually focused on helping to prevent the wakeful signals of the brain from being overactive and allowing people to have a restful sleep. So a lot of new interesting drugs coming out of this, the bad rap that the pharmaceutical companies have gotten in recent years with opiates and too many antidepressants and things like that. So I think there's some good coming out of the research.
Mhm. That's good to hear that from you, because you're the anti-aging energetic doctor.
I'm open-minded. I mean, science is fascinating. I read a lot about how uh, we're beginning to understand now how our consciousness comes from the universe.
Yes, that's primary, the consciousness. Yes.
And you've been talking about that for years.
Yeah.
And the science is just catching up with you, uh, being able to explain it. Being healthy, to a great extent, in my opinion, is having a mindset, having a consciousness that promotes that and that supports that. If you think you're sick, you're going to be sick, and if you think
Right.
you're healthy, you're going to be healthy.
Whatever you think, you're gonna be right.
Yeah.
A lot of people identify themselves with the disease or with the sickness, and a lot of people identify themselves with the power of the universe to heal anything. And
Mhm. Exactly, and that's why you have such a good spirit because you live it and breathe it, and give us that message every time we listen to you. So it's important.
yeah, I appreciate that. Let me ask you 2 other things. One, I remember I saw you a few years ago, and you were speaking online about something, and I said, "God, Dr. Lobe looks like he's getting younger." I remember called you, and I said, "What's going on, man?" And you told me about zombie dust. That
Oh my yes,
and you
so
what is zombie dust? What does it do? What does it do to the different cells that are trying to die? I mean, I remember looking at you and I said, "What did he do to his face?" But you hadn't done anything to your face. You were taking zombie dust. What is that?
so there are cells in the body that are, we call them technically senescent cells. They are cells that have outlived their usefulness, but they're not dead yet.
Mm,
Uh, and so they are in the body in different organs and in different systems, and they consume energy because they're still living cells, but they no longer function properly. So they're like zombie cells. And so a senescent cell is a zombie cell. And so science, the big pharmaceutical companies are spending, billions of dollars trying to figure out how to get rid of these senescent cells. And then the zombie dust is a formula that actually does two things well. One of them, it has some natural senolytics. A senolytic is a drug that gets rid of these senile cells, and it helps them disperse and be, get out of the body. And so it's a natural senolytic, and it also has a combination of substances that elevate something called NED, and a lot of people refer to NAD plus. They're getting IVs, they're getting shots, and
right,
whatnot.
right.
And when we tested the zombie dust, we found that the levels of NAD in the body are on average 17% greater
Mm.
than than they would be otherwise. And if I get an IV or an injection, it's not even measurable. So it's pretty interesting. So zombie does.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. If somebody gets an IV of NAD, it's not measurable, but if you take zombie dust,
Yeah,
you get up to 17% measurable addition of NOD in your body?
exactly. So I had people who say, "Oh, I got this NAD and I feel great." I said, "Yeah, for a few minutes, you know, while it's in your body, but the zombie dust it sustains the level." So no, what is NAD? NAD basically feeds the energy system in your body. They give energy to the mitochondria. And if the mitochondria are working properly and supporting your body with energy, you're moving better, talking better, sleeping better, acting better, your skin repairs better, everything looks good. And so what we found with the zombie dust, the intention was to help get rid of the senile cells. It helps support hair growth and helps skin look better. We see young girls who are taking the zombie dust and their acne goes away. And their complexion improves. It was not going to help you or me, but it helps these things.
So it doesn't matter how old the person is, and they can be a young adult or an older adult, and zombie dust would help them.
It really doesn't. So that's one of the things that I give all my patients who are in need of a uh, just general anti-aging. They want to maintain good health. So the zombie dust just gets rid of the old tired cells in your body that aren't working properly, so that you can use your energy for more productive processes.
Very good. Now, did you come up with that formula, or where
Yeah,
did it come from?
no, that came from right up here.
So that came from you. Zombie dust is you.
Yes, zombie dust.
Okay. Very good, very good.
And that's actually also the L2 Bio company that does the stem cells. It's part of their product line. So
Oh, very good. And another question is, when I remember I used to go to your office, and then sometimes I had board meetings in your office because you had a room with scalar frequencies and salt on the walls, and we would sit in there. I remember we had one board member. We would go to have a board meeting, and you would just very generously allow me to use the room to have board meetings and vision meetings in there, and you'd have the scalar frequencies on. And we had one board member who always fell asleep. He would never be able to stay conscious during the board meeting. As soon as he got in the scalar frequency, he went out. But he felt very good when he woke up. So, what is the scalar frequency technology? I mean, I kind of know, but I want people to know.
right. It's a special technology that if you think of of the cells in your body like a little computer, and every once in a while your computer freezes or doesn't work right, and you got to reboot it. So with the scalar frequency, just an energy frequency that we generate, and with some special generator technology, it actually just reboots the cells in your body. It just restores their energy and their youthful function, and their original function. So that's why he fell asleep and kind of felt rebooted, and so but that's what happens. You mentioned our mutual friend Bill, and I first met Bill over the scalar waves because I met him in an event, and they were talking about their sick dog, and I said, "Well, bring him to my office." And we stuck that dog in the scalar room, and the dog just perked up like it was like a puppy again. So it's good for animals and good for people. And again, that's just a natural energy. It's nothing fancy.
Outstanding. Well, I appreciate everything you're talking about today. The mindset, consciousness to be healthy, your own stem cells, uh, zombie dust, scalar frequencies, uh, the basics, uh, hydration, keeping sugar out of your body, having good nutrition, good exercise, so that people can maintain a level of health so that they can deliver their gifts on the planet. We've all come to the planet to give something, to contribute, to be creative, to make a difference on the planet. But it's difficult if you're not healthy to actually live up to your calling and fulfill your dharma on the planet. Because as the old saying goes, a sick person has only one dream and a healthy person has many. The sick person is always dreaming about being healthy, but the healthy person has many dreams about ways they can make an impact on the planet. So I appreciate the great work you're doing. Tell people how they can be in contact with you. How can they find you uh, for some of the great modalities that you have?
For the stem cells, www.l2bio.com. If you're interested in contacting me, you can contact me through my office. It's www.regeneveda. That's RE, then GENE, like the word gene, and Veda, V like in Victor, EDA, like Ayurvedic, like the Eastern philosophy. So regeneveda.com is also another way that I can be reached.
Very good. And I'll have this in the show notes, everybody, as well, so that when you're watching this particular broadcast of Take Back Your Mind, it'll be in the show notes, and you can tell your friends all about Dr. Thom Lobe and a lot of the good things that we've talked about today. So, Brother Thom, any last words?
Just peace and health to you. That's what else is there?
Yeah. You have peace of mind, you have a great sense of health, you can make a great difference on the planet, and you're not causing a lot of issues.
There you go.
Thom, thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate you, man.
Same here. Bye now.
Peace and blessings. I truly hope that you are enjoying Take Back Your Mind podcast. The Take Back Your Mind podcast is sponsored primarily by the Agape International Spiritual Center. In other words, everything that you see in terms of the staff that puts this together, the editing, the equipment, all of this is sponsored by our Agape International Spiritual Center. So if you are enjoying the podcast, I'm inviting you to support the sponsor. Support Agape. Simply go to agapelive.com and make a donation. And say in the donation that you are supporting the podcast. It allows us to keep broadcasting. It allows us to keep putting these magnificent moments together with these wonderful people that I get to interview. We keep having the possibility of updating the equipment that's necessary and providing the wonderful content that many of you are writing in and saying, I really love the podcast. Support the podcast. Support the sponsor. Agape International Spiritual Center. agapelive.com. You can also text to donate. You can text the word give to 424 321-6243 and put podcast so that we know that you're really supporting this wonderful podcast. Our secondary sponsor is AdaptoZen, ADAPTOZEN. This is my superfood greens. It's nutritionally dense because I teach spirit, mind, and body. We want our body temples to be healthy. So one of the products is my superfood greens. You can go to NutraRise.com. Those three little lines you see, you hit those three little lines and you'll see AdaptoZen. There's two products, my superfood greens and a product called Elevate, which are organic mushrooms for your health. You can put both in your smoothies so that you have main ingredients for the health of your body temple. These are our sponsors. Primary sponsor, Agape International Spiritual Center. Secondary sponsor, AdaptoZen. I want you to be healthy. I want you to be wise. Circulate and share. Peace and blessings. Dynamic blessings to you once again. It's now time for our pause that refreshes. I'm talking about the pause from the extraneous thought forms that invade our mental body from time to time, and to have a pure centering into that which is real, that which is forever, that which is eternal, creating an internal mind and heart set for our health, vitality, and vigor. I invite you to turn within for a moment to extract your attention from the external world, your opinions about the world, perceptions, points of view, positionalities, and to come inward. I invite you to become thankful for anything at all. And just allow this deep sense of gratitude and thankfulness to become a living cascade throughout the body temple. This moment of gratitude is allowing your inner pharmacy to create chemicals of coherence that tonify the body temple, strengthen the immune system, and help create a level of health around all systems of the body temple. Simply becoming grateful. Put a small smile on your face so that the activation of the tonic chemicals becomes more acute. And with the full awareness that the mitochondria on your cells of your body hear everything that you think and believe. So as we begin from the bottom of our feet, we just say to ourselves, oh my God, I am so healthy. Bring your attention on your ankles and all over your legs up to your knees. Oh my God, my body temple is so healthy. Come up the thigh and the hamstrings, both legs. Say, oh my God, my body temple is so very healthy. Come up through the groin area, the buttocks, the hips, and all the internal organs. And say, oh my God, my body temple is so very healthy. Come up through the stomach, the intestines, the small of the back, and all the internal organs therein. And say inside of yourself, oh my God, my body temple is so healthy. Come up through the front rib cage, the upper level of the stomach, the spleen, the liver, the heart, the lungs, the kidneys, pancreas, your spinal column up to the top of your spine, chest and heart, external skin, internal organs. Put a smile on your face and say, oh my God, my body temple is so very healthy. Come up through the neck. Even below that, the thyroid, the thymus, the back of the neck, the jawline, the tongue, your oral cavity with your teeth and gums, tonsils if you still have them. Oh my God, all of that is inside of you. Say, oh my God, my body temple is so very healthy. Come up through the nasal cavity, the eye sockets, the space between the eyebrows, that which is sometimes called the third eye, but it is the first eye because you are a spiritual being first. Your whole head cavity, including the brain, ears, internal of the ears, the earlobes, but inside of the ear cavity. All of this. Say, oh my God, my body temple is so healthy. So from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet and all organs and the entire skin, you're in deep gratitude that the body temple is healthy. That anything that would hinder, delay, or block this expression of health is now becoming less and less potent because the cells of your body temple are believing and hearing what you're saying and are coming into a full-orbed expression of vitality, vigor, health, wellness, well-being. All of this is what you are believing and feeling with a deep sense of gratitude. Say to yourself, my entire body field vibrates with health, wellness, and well-being, and it's happening now. Say, my auric field is radiating the beauty of pure spirit. I am totally healthy. Now take a moment of silence and just contemplate with a deep sense of gratitude your health and vitality, vigor, wellness, and well-being now. We allow ourselves to be grateful for these precious moments, this precious pause that refreshes. And we give thanks that our body temple, our mental body, our emotional body, our physical body, our astral body, and all of our subtle bodies are coming into an alignment with our spiritual celestial body. We're so grateful that health is revealing itself and that the form follows our expanded consciousness of gratitude that we are healthy right now. And so it is. And so we let it be. Thank you for tuning in for this pause that refreshes. You have just done an energetic reset for the body temple. Have a beautiful and bright day. Subscribe, like, let all your friends know that this is available to them. Have a beautiful day. Your time is very valuable, so I want to thank you for lending us your ear and participating in taking back your mind. If you want to submit a question for the question of the week, please submit it to podcast@michaelbeckwith.com. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, please submit a review and let us know your thoughts. Stay on top of current episodes by subscribing to the podcast so that you'll receive alerts and not miss one single episode. And feel free to share this podcast with all of your friends and family. And until we meet again, take back your mind and you will take back your life. Peace and blessings.